Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am unboxing the Mists of Avalon by Rose Inserra. So let's get started. I bought this deck because I wish to connect a bit more with my Celtic roots. Obviously, many of you are probably familiar with the story or the legend of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and also Merlin, Morgan le Fay, and some of the Avalon priestesses. And I'm sure all of you will have heard of Glastonbury and the Tor, the Chalice, is it the Chalice Gardens? And the White Spring and the Red Spring. So you'll be familiar with some aspect of this Avalonian sacred realm. And I wanted to connect more with my Celtic roots, so I got this deck and the artwork is really beautiful. I don't think it's a very well-known deck perhaps, and that's why I wanted to share it in this unboxing, because the artwork's really beautiful and the messages are really beautiful. To me, it's a very divinely feminine inspired deck. It's very soft, ethereal, very open, very welcoming, and I just feel held. Even as I was looking through the cards, I just felt very held in that space. The deck is quite small, it only has 36 cards, so I will show you all of them, and I'll show you a little bit through the guidebook, and I will also be sharing a reading as always at the end, so you can tune in and see if that resonates with you and if there's a message that you perhaps need to hear, which, let's face it, we can all always benefit from some divine wisdom and guidance. So let's begin by looking inside the deck and at the beautiful artwork, which is by Nadia Turner. Okay, so here we have the box with the beautiful title Mists of Avalon Oracle, which is in this really lovely kind of foiled blue. And the box itself is matte, it's very soft to touch, and obviously we have this Avalonian priestess in a boat with a raven, and you can just see the Glastonbury Tor in the distance with a full moon, which makes complete sense. And obviously there's symbolism all the way around. And then on the back of the box, we just have a couple of examples of some cards and a little bit of information, obviously discussing that it's connected to the myth of King Arthur and the Camelot story to help you connect to the druidic lore and the magic of Morgan le Fay. Be empowered by the Avalon priestesses as they speak the language of the trees in the sacred groves. Feel the spiritual power of the mystic landscape of Glastonbury, revered since ancient times as a gateway to the other world. Become part of the magic and myth of Avalon. That sounds good to me. And then it just has a little bit of information here about the author and the guidebook and how there's 36 cards. And again, you have this very Celtic looking imagery around the outside. So let's have a look inside. So the inside of the front and back of the box has this beautiful symbol, and the name of it has completely escaped my brain, so I will have to look that up to share that with you. Then we have the guidebook, which is the same as the front cover, with information about each of the cards and different spreads, and about the author and the illustrator and how you can connect to the deck when you first get it. So let's have a look at the cards. We have the Abbey. This is so beautiful. Feels really kind of mystical, magical, very calming. You can see the badges, the Tor in the background. If you visited Glastonbury, you may well have visited the Abbey. That's the one place I actually haven't been to in Glastonbury. Only because it was closed at the time of year when I went. So I definitely want to go and visit that. But this is really beautiful, and this is connected to serenity, interconnectedness, purpose, and shared blessings. And the back of each card is the same symbol that's carried throughout as a theme. Then we have the Tor with this gorgeous hare. Again, hares are really important. You have truth, clarity, connection, source, and this kind of spiraling path, again bringing in that symbology of spirals, interconnectedness, moving within, spiraling deeper and deeper. Then we have the Isle of Avalon, which says renewal, mystery, healing, rest. So if you're not familiar with the legend, it's believed that Glastonbury was in fact an island. The Tor itself was an island, and you had to reach it by boat because it was all submersed by water, which is obviously really fascinating to think of it like that. So we see a boat approaching and with a harbour and some gulls, but again we have this nighttime scene, and the water looks really calm as well. It's quite misty. There's a lot of mysticism around this, and again I would expect that to be the case because it's such a mythical, mysterious time. Then we have the Chalice Well. I am sure if you visited Glastonbury you'll be very familiar with the Chalice Well and the gardens, which are incredibly beautiful. And we have Sanctuary, Creative Force, Mother Earth, and Flow. And we have this labyrinth here, you know, the never-ending labyrinth and traveling deeper within. There's a lot of symbolism for going within, going deep within you. And I love this symbol with the Tor through the middle. And it seems as if everything's just gravitating towards the Tor. Like that's the pinnacle of the magic here. Then we have the White Spring, again, another place you can go and visit if you go to Glastonbury. I think I actually missed going here as well. I think that's one of the places me and my friend, again, couldn't find. It is quite a mystical place, and when you get there, the energy is really strong because it's on 2 different ley lines. So if you're really tuned into energy, it can actually feel very strong. So we have energy, gratitude, protection, and healing. I love the way the light's caught in this illustration. I think it's beautiful. Then we have Camelot. So honor, ideals, aspiration, trust with this knight returning home. And you can see the encampments outside, so it's a safe time. People are obviously feeling protected and safe. Then we have the Holy Thorn. Again, I'm not sure about this. I don't know much about this. I'll be intrigued to find out more. It says the sacred, perseverance, optimism, courage. And we have the fox and the badger, which looks like it's hibernating. And again, the symbol of this labyrinth. Then we have the sacred grove. I really like this. This feels very elven to me, actually. Very ancient wisdom, I feel. You can see even the trees have people's faces on it. It really reminds me of Lord of the Rings in a way. And we have longevity, protection, nature, renewal. And again, symbolism on the stones. That makes me think Stonehenge. Symbols were so important, you know, and they are with every kind of ancient path, really, aren't they? Okay, then we have Chalice Hill. This is a beautiful image. I mean, the women in this deck are gorgeous. So we have faith, wellness, yin and yang, and balance. And again, the chalice cup, you know, filling up your cup, coming from that space of purity, balance, and divine connection, I feel. Then we have the other world. I love unicorns. And again, it looks like, you know, stone circles in the background. We have the ethereal, everlasting, rebirth, and journey. And again, the symbolism coming through, the owl, the hare, the raven. I really like all of these cards. Then we have Excalibur. So coming out from the lake, sovereignty, power, action, truth. Even though the sword is typically aligned with men, actually it's the Lady of the Lake who looks after the sword. So fascinating again. Then we have the Holy Grail. Life force, spirit, wisdom, regeneration. Wow, look at the detail of the symbols and the flowers and the light bursting forth. Again, the art is beautiful. It's very gentle. The edges are very soft, so nothing feels harsh in this deck, which I really like. Then we have the dragon, and it says strength, power, pathfinder, integration. To me, there's a kind of inward battle, and there's the light and the dark forces here. So I'm excited to read a bit more about this card actually and see the information. And then we have Sacred Union, which is what I would expect, especially with Arthur and Guinevere. So vitality, fertility, sexuality, growth. So this is definitely a time for something new to spring forth. You know, look at the imagery, the flowers, everything feels quite fresh, quite new. But again, coming together, the blending of the nature and the human. Then we have the Mists of Avalon. And it says illusion, transformation, boundary, and enchantment. And obviously this is the main image from the front of the deck. And her arms are open. She's welcoming that space. Even though she's in a mystical space, she's totally open to it. Then we have Morgan Le Fay. So much power and beauty in this card with her staff and her raven. And it says fate, intuition, prophecy, magic. Wow. I'm really excited to find out more about each of these cards actually and what the interpretations are for them. And then we have the Lady of the Lake with her crown of thorns and buds, and again holding Excalibur, presenting Excalibur, you could even say. Again, it's nighttime, there's a full moon. Mystery, self-knowledge, the goddess, otherworld. I actually can remember watching a Merlin TV series when I was very young with, I think, Sam Neill in, and I remember the Lady of the Lake was just so beautiful, and she was incredibly ethereal and almost translucent in her energy and her makeup, you know. It was like she wasn't real. She had this otherworldly quality to her, so I always really connected with that and with the Lady of the Lake. And then we have Merlin, of course, and we have magic, alchemy, equilibrium, and perception. He looks incredibly wise, doesn't he? He has his green flame, his owl, his potions, his magic book, which probably has spells in. And yeah, I'm really excited to connect more with him. Then we have King Arthur. I have to say, I do think he actually looks a little bit insipid. I don't know, he looks young. Maybe that would be the best way to describe it. He looks as though he's not totally in his manhood yet. Like, he's still quite a young king is what I sense. So it says authority, justice, power, leadership. So maybe he's just received Excalibur and is just asserting himself as a king. I'll wait and see what the guidebook says. And then we have Guinevere. And it says beauty, feminine power, sexuality, love. So obviously she is connected to Arthur, as usually shown as his lover and his wife. And again, we have the fruit behind her, so there's some kind of abundance coming through with her. And again, she looks quite young, very innocent, almost virginal, you could say. Then we have Igraine. It says motherhood, acceptance, feminine power, and beauty. And she has her hound with her. She's inside. I suppose, even though she has the cup, I don't know, it feels a little bit like she's looking out upon where she'd rather be, to be honest. But I'll see what the card says, because there's this feminine power and this motherhood, so technically she's a very powerful, strong woman. Then we have Tillerson. I may be saying that wrong. If I am, I do apologize. So it says poetry, creativity, storytelling, divination. I know absolutely nothing about him and any legend. Obviously there's some kind of music going on, so maybe he's a storyteller of some sort. We have Lancelot, probably one of the coolest out of King Arthur's knights, his right-hand man, really. And it says chivalry, heroism, devotion, romance. He looks stronger, his face looks very determined, and he has his sword out, like he's ready for action. He knows where he's going, and he's focused. I get a lot of sense of focus from his face, actually. Then we have Galahad. Complete difference with him and with Lancelot. He looks a lot softer. He still looks like he's focused. There's almost a bit of sorrow in his eyes, actually, if you're looking. And it says triumph, purity, courage, and surrender. So he has his weapon, but he's not holding it in an aggressive manner. Then we have a beautiful card, the Priestess of Avalon. Unfortunately, this did arrive with a bit of a tear on the top of the image, which is such a shame. But you know, maybe that's because it's meant to be the card that I pay the most attention to. So in the background, there's two other priestesses, and we have the candles, we have a divine feminine goddess, we have some herbs, the bowl, perhaps she's performing a ritual. We have healing, initiation, divine inspiration, and ancient knowledge. I feel as though this may be my favorite card. Then we have fairy. It says guardians, protection, nature's magic, and playfulness. I actually used to believe I was a fairy when I was about 6 or 7, and me and my friends would go and have a party on the moon at night. So I very strongly connect with fairies. Then we have the Lady of Shalott. I know nothing about this, so I'm really excited to read more. It says love, idealism, illusion, victim. I mean, she looks half asleep, and she looks like she's not part of Camelot, you know, she's away from everything. Maybe there's some kind of myth or legend of what happened to her that I will read about in the guidebook. Then we have Nimue. And this very much looks like she's casting a spell, but she's alone. Noticed in the priestess card, she was with other women. Here she's on her own, so something's happening there. It says respect, self-esteem, opportunity, confidence. Then we have Ceridwen. I'm probably saying that wrong, I do apologize. And it says inspiration, creativity, transformation, rebirth. And we have a chicken, goddess statue, a young dog, this cauldron. Maybe again there's spells going on, you know, rituals are really important. Maybe as well there could be some kind of cooking, you know, something else coming forth. Then we have Rhiannon, and it says integrity, perseverance, endurance, focus. I like this. She looks quite wayward, quite rebellious. Her hair is disheveled. Her robe is slightly falling down a bit. So it's a little bit revealing. This is definitely my favorite card for the imagery. It's beautiful, and I do love that kind of white hair, translucent look. Obviously she must be some kind of moon goddess, and I love her white hair. That's hair goals for me. And it says life direction, fate, karma, autonomy. So she's obviously very empowered. Then we have Branwen. I like the look of Branwen actually. She looks like the kind of person I'd want to be friends with. You know, she has this very focused but calm gaze. And it says balance, support, sacrifice, and letting go. And it looks like she's actually holding a shell here with a white raven and then a black raven. Then we have Bloodwed, and it says renewal, freedom, manifestation, authenticity. Gorgeous white owl. And again, maybe this is about springtime. You know, she has the flowers coming through there. They look like they've only just blossomed. Of course, we couldn't have a Celtic deck without having Brigid. And we have radiance, passion, birth, and soul empowerment. So there's some kind of fiery passion coming through here, birthing this new element to your soul perhaps. Then we have the King of the Fairy Realm. And it says personal power, renewal, journey, and death and rebirth. And he very much feels otherworldly, you know, he's far above the tour, and it's nighttime and there's all these clouds swirling around, as if he only comes out when it's connected to this aspect, and perhaps he is an otherworldly figure. And then finally we have the White Heart. This says perspective, new beginnings, realignment, and awakening. So again, there's this connection to the trees, and it did say on the back of the box it's about that tree wisdom. And you can see Camelot in the background. Again, it's nighttime, the moon, and there's lots of different symbolism. So I'm really excited to get into this deck and to work with it actually. As you can see, all of the cards are just really soft and gentle, and I really do feel very feminine in that aspect. So let's pull some cards and have a reading and see what comes through. Okay, so here is the reading. I have picked to do a past, present, and future reading, and the card on the far right hand side fell out when I was shuffling, so I figured we'd look at that message as well because everything is a sign. I also looked up the meaning of the symbol on the back of the cards, and it's called a triskelion, and it's made up of 3 conjoined spirals, and is connected to nature and the movement of life, as well as describing the past, present, and future. And it also shows strength in Celtic culture. So very interesting. It's funny because even though my roots and my heritage is mainly Celtic, I haven't really got much knowledge on it anymore. I used to know quite a bit when I was younger, but my focus has been in other times and spaces, more predominantly actually Lemurian Atlantis in like the last 5 years. That's really what I've been focusing on. So it's nice to get back to my roots for this physical incarnation, even if it isn't directly what my soul feels connected to. I definitely am intrigued to find out more. So the card for the past is Sacred Union. The message is, it is now a good time for bringing hopes, dreams, and aspirations to fruition. Be joyful and open your heart. Celebrate vitality and love in all its forms, whether that be in friendship, romance, or new passions. The card of Sacred Union encourages you to be joyful, to open your heart, and be as one with your true love. This may happen many times over your life cycle. It's not about being too old to love or about being productive, whether that be childbearing or a new career, home, or project or vision. What is your passion? Now is the time to rediscover and connect with your soul self. Be attuned to the rhythms and cycles of your life and notice the shifts and changes that occur in your life in any given season. And I very much feel it's basically saying, what are you passionate about? Now is the time to connect to that. Which of course, right now, we are in the space of coronavirus. But even if you listen to this in, 6 months or a year's time, what are you passionate about? Now is the time to put that into action. Then the card for the present is Bloodwed. The message is, reclaim your true self and break free from the confines of what others in society say you are. Reclaim those parts of you that have been taken prisoner in one form or another. Choose freedom of self-expression. You are uniquely you and free to express yourself as you wish. Well, that's really interesting already, because that's basically what this space and time of coronavirus is, breaking free from the confines of society. So I'm really interested by that being the present card actually at the moment. But even if you are watching this in the future, break free from whatever is holding you back. And the extended message says, Bloodwed appears when you need to reclaim your very own true self. When the goddess asks you, have you forgotten who you are? Use your intuition and wisdom to dig deep and bring yourself forth in her presence. Embodying sovereignty, Bloodwed is the Welsh goddess of spring and a guardian of Avalon. Don't be defined by what others want you to be or the stereotypes that are set by society's norms. Just like Bloodwed, you are facing a time of death and renewal. You must change and adapt as you grow and claim your freedom from who you are expected to be. Return to yourself and your true nature. The card for the future is Aenrod, my favourite. The message is, we all have a karmic journey to endure and follow. It's learning the lessons and having a greater understanding of the wheel of fate that has come with us in this incarnation. Take control of your karmic journey, reconcile your past so your future does not repeat the same challenges and crises. Create a life cycle that is more in sync with your desired outcome. Aenrod spins the web of your fate and destiny. The card of Aenrod appears when you have come to an ending, a death, a crossroad, a crisis of faith. She is the shining light of the North Star. She comes to help you to create a life cycle that spins in sync with your destiny. Let her guide you to be reincarnated into a new kind of life that it was always your destiny to have. So we have a very clear story there, which is, what is your passion? How can you be your most authentic self? And something that you've been through has ended, that cycle is over, you're in a new space now. Reconnect to that deeper aspect of yourself and bring that forth in whatever it is you need to do, and connect to your fate, your destiny, your purpose more deeply. And finally, the card that fell out when I was shuffling is Merlin. The message is, an important new role awaits you. You're being asked to create your own kind of magic and bring it into light. Take the risk and accept the challenge. You are well prepared for manifesting your vision into reality. When your intentions and actions are aligned, magic happens. I feel as though we're already getting a story here. Let go of the past, bring in what you're passionate about, be your truest self, because this brand new thing is ready for you. This new chapter, this new career, this new relationship, this new aspect of yourself, this new connection to your purpose. The card of Merlin denotes a big change in your role. You need to trust the creative forces that seem to magically manifest. To receive the gift of magic, you need to lay aside your fear and take a risk. Wow, what a fascinating reading. I'm really glad that Merlin fell out and had a message for us as well. This feels like a really beautifully aligned reading, and please let me know in the comments if it does resonate for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this really interesting and hopefully the reading has resonated with you. Do let me know in the comments below if you have this deck, if you've worked with it, how you enjoyed working with it, or if you've never heard of it before and perhaps you suddenly feel this call to reignite your connection to your Celtic roots like I have, or perhaps if you just innately feel a connection through a past life to one of the goddesses or cards I've already mentioned. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in next week's video.